So in the last video I talked about binary star systems, which are systems with two stars. Today I want to talk about open and globular clusters. Open clusters are clusters of stars that can contain tens of stars to thousands of stars. So how did these clusters form? Well, all of the stars in the cluster form from one giant gas cloud, and due to gravity this gas compresses to form a star. But this gas is limited, so it runs out quickly, and this means that there's a short time frame where stars can form, which means that all the stars in the cluster will be roughly the same age. Now it turns out that younger open clusters look blue, whereas older clusters look red. Now why would this be? Well, blue stars burn hotter, which means they run out of fuel much faster, so they have shorter lifespans. Red stars, however, are cooler, which means they take much longer to run out of fuel. So blue stars have shorter lifespans and red stars have longer lifespans. This means that if a cluster is really old, all of its blue stars would have died out, and the only stars left would be red stars. Whereas if you have a young cluster, then there hasn't been enough time for the blue stars to die out, so there'd still be blue stars in the cluster. And you can see this phenomenon here. On the left, the Pleiades cluster is mostly blue, and on the right, the Hyades cluster is mostly red. And would you look at that, the Hyades cluster is older than the Pleiades cluster. Now unfortunately, open clusters don't last forever. The stars in these clusters are only weakly held together by gravity, so the gravitational forces from the surrounding stars gradually pull the stars away from each other, eventually destroying it. Because of this, open clusters have relatively short lifespans of a few 100 million years. Now globular clusters are even larger than open clusters, and they can contain tens of thousands to millions of stars. Unlike open clusters, which don't really have a defined shape, globular clusters are approximately spherical, with a very dense core that gets less dense as you move farther away. Globular clusters orbit around the main disk of the galaxy in what's known as the halo. Interestingly, the globular clusters orbit every which way, almost like a beehive. All known globular clusters have stopped forming stars, indicating that they must be very old. But unlike open clusters, the stars in these globular clusters don't all form at the same time. They can have many different ages. Little is known about exactly how globular clusters form, but one theory is that they just form out of really massive gas clouds. And they have multiple stages of star formation, so they might start making one batch of stars and later they'll make the second batch. They don't run out of all the gas immediately. Globular clusters eventually die when all of the stars are stripped away due to the gravity of its host galaxy. So, that's what open and globular clusters are all about. See you in the next video.